To Noteworthy. This is just a little note-taking app I made. I really wanted to practice Elixir and Rust, and I thought this was a cool opportunity to do that. So, you know what? Let's go ahead and register. So, I am going to be JJ Higgs 3000 at gmail.com. Register it up, baby. We in. Oh, I think it wants me to have at least 12 characters. And we should be in. Cool. So now that we're here, I can create a note. So here are the notes that already exist on the platform. We can go ahead and delete them. That's actually persists to a backend. And it actually shocks me how quickly those change. And that's because of Elixir's live view, which is these one-way TCP connections. Anyways, sweet, or microsockets or whatever. So now I can go here and let's make a new note, and we'll call it, I don't know, grocery list. Okay? And here's the cool part. All of this right here is markdown. So, and this is a parser. The parser for this markdown I built in Rust, and then we embed that in Elixir. I'll show some of that code off in a second. But what I could do here is say, okay, cool. Grocery list, maybe what's the date today? 1/30. Cool. So now here we could say fruits, and maybe we want apples, bananas, and pears. And we might say, oh yeah, fruits are great for you, buddy. Cool. And then, you know what, we'll do veggies too. Bam. Veggies. And veggies are even better. And we're going to go carrots, broccoli. Ooh. Potatoes. Nice. Sweet. So let's go ahead and add our note. So now we have, if we look here, we have a little note that popped up, our grocery list, and we can either go to this page, edit it, but you know what? I'm going to go back, and instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this one and view it as an HTML. And now you can see that this is parsed out to some HTML. Now this is definitely by no means the best markdown parser, but it was a really good way of learning Rust and of learning Elixir, because this is a fun little app to make. So just to show you some of the code, if we go ahead and look at the thing, this is like where the meat and potatoes of the parser happens. So this is kind of how you make a NIF using Rust, which the cool thing about Rust is memory safe, so you don't have to worry about your NIF crashing the beam like you might have to do with like a C#, or not a C#, C++ or a C library or something like that. Rust tends to be pair a little nicer with this, so you can very confidently use a parsing library without worrying about it, or so I'm told. So this is how you get that parsing library in there, and to show that actual code, and this lives in there's like a native folder, and then in native folder you have your crate, or I think that's what you would call it, but this is like your Rust code here, and then in here this is the default that they give you. So this is if you wanted to use Rust just to add numbers, which obviously doesn't really make sense. You want to use Rust for more computational heavy stuff, and all we do here is we call this code Rustler init markdown parser parse, and then we have this little tag up above it, and that is it. That's all that it took. Now, to be fair, this Rust took me a good while to write because I had to, learn Rust. So that was fun. And maybe just to show some of it, markdown parser. Let's see, we could show some of that other code. Here we have our node. It's not a class. It is structs with implemented functions. So we have that here that basically holds the data for what like a node item would be in like your browser in JavaScript or something like that. We have that, and then we also have a markdown parser, and there was more logic built into this in the case that we wanted to, get stuff like code blocks or links or blah, 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 blah. But most of that got not fully fleshed out, and for right now, it's just like a single line to a single line conversion. In the future, I definitely want to improve this parser and maybe even get links so you can link different pages to each other I think that would be pretty cool. But yeah, that is Noteworthy. Yeah, that's it. That's all we got.